everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mike Nierychlo Online, sharing my love for people, wine, food, and all things made passionately. So today's show, Icewine, one of Canada's signatures. We tend to have a pretty decent cool climate in our winter to be able to make ice wine. But before I get into that, the door is hung, the wine cellar. Not quite finished yet, but the door is hung. It works great. Super excited about that. So I'd show you that. Ice wine. Canada, ice wine. Canada, ice wine. We're somewhat known for it, although we're starting to get known for a lot of other varieties. But, I mean, Canada, here's a little bit of advice. Winemakers watching this, I don't know if you'll agree or disagree, but I think we need to embrace ice wine a little bit more. There's lots of parts of the world that are known for certain things. We're somewhat known for ice wine. We should embrace that because that could lead us into getting known for lots of other things as well. Anyway, it's a little bit of my 2 bits. What can I say about it? Ice wine, why it does well in Canada. Well, first of all, let me tell you how ice wine works. What they do, typically they'll use a hardier variety of grape, although they're starting to experiment with a lot more. Riesling typically works really well for ice wine. But what they do is they leave the grapes hanging. And ice wine's very risky to make for doing this because once the grapes have ripened to still wine potential, say September, October time when they normally pick, they'll net them because after that the grapes start to get really sweet. So they'll net them so predators can't get them, birds, bees, deer, whatever, can't get at them. And they will hope that we don't have any crazy extreme weather like killer frost that just destroys the grapes or anything like that. And they'll let them hang until they get really, really ripe. Once they're really ripe, they wait for a cold snap. Could be during the day, typically it's during at night. They'll get a cold snap and they'll hope for like -8 to -12 degrees Celsius. It's freezing cold outside and that's when they'll harvest the grapes. The reason they do that, this cold snap causes any water in the grapes to freeze. So they'll harvest the grapes, and right after they harvest them, really quickly they start pressing them. When you press them, the frozen water doesn't squeeze out. All you get is like 1 drop, pretty much 1 drop per grape of like this extremely concentrated grape juice. So it's very sweet, a lot of sugar in it because it's hung for so long. Usually it doesn't happen until end of December, January, sometimes it can even go into February of the following year. For when they harvest, they're waiting for that cold snap and the right timing. So ice wine is very risky to make. It takes a lot of patience, a huge risk. Because if you think about it, you could use those grapes just for your normal still wine, but in a good year, they have a lot of potential to make some great wine. So anyway, when you press them, you get this really, really fine juice. Like I said, like 1 drop per grape, extremely concentrated, very sweet. And that is what makes ice wine sweet. They'll go ahead and ferment it. But fermentation only allows so much alcohol to be made in a wine. I think they usually get them up to like 12%, 11% in ice wine roughly. I mean, this is 10% here. And the rest, the leftover sugar that didn't ferment into alcohol is called residual sugar. It's left over in the ice wine. That's what makes ice wine so sweet. So I'm excited about this episode. I've been looking forward to doing this episode because ice wine, I don't know many people who don't like ice wine. It's just straight up yummy. That's the best word for it. It's just yummy. It's like a treat. It's like going to the candy store. So I got 3 examples from beautiful British Columbia to show off for you today. So the first one I'll do is Quails Gate's 2007 Riesling Ice Wine. Quails Gate, located in Mount Boucherie area. Well, if you watch my wine tour videos, Okanagan Road Trip series, I stopped there as well. Great setup, beautiful winery, West Bank, Mount Boucherie, Kelowna area, right around there. Check them out. This one runs for, you know what, don't quote me on this, I'm going to have the prices below. I think this one's about $35 roughly. So let's go ahead and try it. Now, the first thing with ice wine, it's very viscous. You'll notice in your glass, this one's very nice light color, kind of a golden yellow color. But you'll rotate your glass, it's quite viscous. It's thicker, more syrupy than typical wine. All right. They smell so good, so sweet. It's just very aromatic. So jumping out of the glass in this one, it's got this really nice, like fine dried apricot. Almost smells like apricots and icing sugar. It's got a creamy smell to it. As well, it's got this nice lemon freshness coming through on this one as well. Now, sometimes ice wine can be a bit over the top and goopy and too sweet. The best ice wines have a really nice acidity that keep your palate clean. Otherwise, it's just too sweet. The acidity helps balance it out. So let's see how these do. Okay, that's delicious. This one carries that acidity I was talking about. This reminds me of oh, it's so good. It's got a little bit of peach apricot, beautiful lemon citrus finish with a nice clean acidity. Just a clean, fresh acidity. Not tart, but clean and fresh. It just keeps your palate clean. Doesn't feel like I'm coated in sugar. Oh, it's slightly thinner for an ice wine, which I like, as opposed to really goopy and syrupy. Oh, this is, okay, I'll rate this a great ice wine. I like this one a lot. It's going to say great below. If I had to give it points, oh, I have to say like 94 points, something like that. It's just good. It's great ice wine. So yummy. I mean, ice wines aren't even really worth putting a point value on. I'm starting to even hesitate using point values because wine is so good. Why put a number on it? Just enjoy it. I can't dump this. That's beautiful. This reminds me of a lemon meringue pie in a bottle. Get that beautiful kind of creamy meringue sweetness on top with that beautiful tart lemon finish with a little bit of apricot as well on the side. Okay, next one. See You Later Ranch. These guys are a little bit further south in the Okanagan. 2006 Ehrenfelser ice wine. See You Later Ranch is located kind of near Penticton / Okanagan Falls area. They've got a beautiful view, beautiful setting. You can see all of Skaha Lake from them, everything. Ehrenfelser, as a variety, it's a hybrid grape. It's made with Riesling, which is typically a good ice wine grape, and Sylvaner. So Riesling gives it that fresh, clean citrus play, fresh, clean lemon, things like that. Where Sylvaner gives it a little bit more of that savory kind of tropical sweetness, typically in a still wine. I haven't tried this ice wine before, so I'm curious. So again, 06 See You Later Ranch Ehrenfelser ice wine. All right, this has got a little bit more of a typical ice wine color. Kind of that. Actually, you know what that looks like? That looks like brass. Kind of like a apricot-y colored brass. It's a neat color, kind of very orange, yellowy orange. This one's a little bit more syrupy than the previous. Ooh, okay, this has got a little bit of a different nose to it. This reminds me, it's kind of like a hint of like brown sugar. Almost slightly floral, in a way. And it kind of reminds me of figs. As well, it's got the classic ice wine notes too. Classic ice wine notes got dried apricot, some peach. I'd almost venture to say some overripe pineapple. It's got a really interesting nose to it in this one. It's kind of a pretty deep nose. But it does remind me a lot of a nice sweet ripe fig. Should taste this with a fig. All right. This episode rocks. So get yourself some ice wine and just enjoy it. It's so yummy. This one's definitely, it's sweeter than the first one. A bit more syrupy. It doesn't quite have the citrus freshness, like the acidic rear end to it that gives it that cleanness, but it's still really nice. Like, this is just super yummy. Yeah, just very enjoyable. Almost get some nice, like, there's like that peach on this one. It's more like an orange peel or something like that. It's really good. That's a good ice wine as well. think the price on this one is around 25 bucks, which is really not bad, but I'll have the prices below. Sorry, I don't exactly remember what they were, but you'll see them below. That's really yummy. Yeah, it totally reminds me of a really ripe fig, this one. This is also, okay, so that one's great. This is a good plus, definitely good plus, still a very nice ice wine. Such a treat, like the world should taste our ice wine. It's just so yummy. Like I said, I give that 94 and a half, something like that. I'd probably give this, I don't know, 92 points or so. It's a really nice ice wine as well. Switches up, wrong boxes. Oh, and that's the other ice wine. It usually comes in a nice box. It's got really cool packaging. It's such a treat. Okay, the last one. Typically ice wine's done with white grapes. There are other places that are experimenting with the other color grapes. So you got Rollingdale Winery. They're also kind of Mount Boucherie area, Kelowna. This is done with Pinot Noir. It's a 2007 Pinot Noir ice wine. You can see the color in the bottle. It's got more of a red color to it. Red almost, actually it's kind of like a rusty color, to be honest. It reminds me of rust. See what this one has to say. No, that's a different nose. For ice wine. This reminds me of rhubarb. Reminds me of like very overripe apples and rhubarb. There's a little bit of it's very different. It's a different grape to be doing ice wine with as well. It's got this tart nose to it. It kind of reminds me almost of kind of like Christmas cake or something like that. Yeah, Christmas cake, almost slightly nutty. Yeah. These are all just yummy. Wow. Oh, yeah. The palate on this one is, this one's got more of a tart palate actually. It's still very sweet. I'm feeling the sweetness in the air in my throat just from tasting all these. It's quite sweet, but it's got this neat tartness to it. This has also got a decent acidity to it. Yeah, I like it. It reminds me of like slightly different fruit. It has a hint of apricot, but it's more rounded with like sweetened rhubarb or overripe strawberries or something on the nose I can't quite place as well. Kind of Christmas cakey, things like that. It's very interesting. I'd have to put this one, oh, again, good plus. Very nice ice wine as well. I mean, in a good vintage, I mean, if you take the risk for ice wine and it actually works out for you, it's hard to find a bad ice wine, to be honest. I'd probably say I'd give this one about 93 points or so. Again, if I had to put a point value on it. I like that too. These are delicious. I gotta do a little bit of a shout out today on this episode because I picked up these wines at the Wine Emporium. It's a VQA store, BC wine store in Murrayville here. I think I've mentioned it before in a couple episodes. I'll have it in my events section, but May 8th, Saturday, May 8th, I'll be hosting the tasting all day at the Wine Emporium. So stop by. I'll put the link below the video as well for you. And you can find all these ice wines there as well. Great place. Come by, say hi, do a visit. Let's taste some wine together. And yeah, ice wine. Enough said. Don't really need to say much else. Sweet, yummy, tasty, super good for dessert. Another thing you can do with ice wine that people don't really realize, it makes for a perfect aperitif. Something to have before a meal. Get your mouth really watering and you crave food because the sweetness just, my mouth is watering like crazy right now. I'm about to have some lunch because I need to eat. So yeah, thanks a lot, Wine Emporium. Wines are great. I'll have to do an episode on them one day, have Frank, the owner, here or something like that. Cool, so thank you so much for watching today. Look for some ice wine and we'll see you on the next episode.